Okay, so here is my review for episode 5 of season 7 of Game of Thrones, Eastwatch. So all in all, this episode, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just sort of meh. And I think that is to be expected because even if this had been a killer episode, it wouldn't have been able to top last week. And I feel like after having the episode last week where so much was going on, you sort of needed to have an episode that calmed it down a bit, almost sort of a filler episode until we get to the next episodes, and I have a feeling that the next 2 episodes are going to be absolute killer episodes. Start with Dany, I suppose. Yes, I do disagree with her burning the Tarleys. I didn't disagree with her taking Drogon and burning the Lannister army because that's an army, that's fine, but when it's 2 people that you could just as easily behead, I disagree with it. And also, Dany inspires people. That is how she's able to get people to follow her. It's not through fear. It seems like she's using fear in Westeros, which I can understand to an extent. People need to fear her, but in almost a good way. Here it's just people seem to be bending the knee to her because she's got a dragon and they don't want to be burnt alive, and that's not who Dany is. Dany is someone who inspires, and while it is quite hard to inspire Westeros, she's been in Essos all her life, and she's been able to inspire them over a number of years. She can't just come to Westeros and immediately inspire them because these people remember the Mad King and they're listening to what Cersei is telling them, and they don't really know who Dany is. We got the reunion with Jorah and Dany, which I'm so happy about. That hug between them made me so happy. They've barely ever touched each other throughout the entire show, and to finally see them hug, it was a welcome relief. We finally get reunion with Gendry. It seemed very underplayed in my opinion. I mean, he disappeared in season 3, so we've been wondering where he is for all of season 4, 5, and 6, and half of season 7. And it just seemed very, oh look, Gendry's here. And immediately I knew it was going to be Gendry because all the shots of him before Davos walks up to him and he turns around have his like face cut off. And to me that was just so obvious. I feel like they could have shot it in a different way to make it a bit more suspenseful. I did quite like that line from Davos though. I thought you would be still rowing because I feel like that's a reflection of the fan base who kept making jokes about Gendry still rowing away. I liked to see him with the hammer too because that was always Robert's weapon, and I really liked that. We also got the scene with Tyrion and Jaime. Didn't really get a Tyrion and Bronn reunion, at least not on screen, but I did like that Bronn to an extent is almost kind of loyal to Tyrion. Tyrion and Jaime, I thought it was really well done. Any scene with them usually is. However, in this scene, whether he despises Tyrion or not, we don't know, but he's acting like he despises him. We get another scene with Cersei. Jaime tells her that Olenna poisoned Joffrey, which I wasn't expecting him to do, in all honesty, and I'm not sure if he was doing that in defense of Tyrion or not. Cersei is not giving up. She hasn't seen the Dothraki and the dragons though. I feel like if she did, she would probably give up. I mean, it is Cersei, so she probably would know, oh look, I'm going to die, but who cares? She seems to be just playing it off. Like, you know, she was playing it off seasons ago when people would tell her about the dragons, and she'd be like, oh, they're baby dragons, it doesn't matter. Here they're fully grown and they've just wiped out like her army, and she's still whatever about the dragons, which annoyed me a bit, and I feel like Jaime should have got more annoyed about that. She tells him that she's pregnant. I feel like that kid isn't gonna be born. It's either gonna die or Cersei's gonna die. I really liked when they were hugging at the end because Cersei says to Jaime, never betray me again, and he did have a look on his face that makes me feel like they're not going to trust each other for much longer, which they shouldn't even trust each other at all at this point, but the showrunners decided that they wanted them to. So we got some stuff at the Citadel again. The only thing that sort of happened there of any merit was that Lily was reading a book, and she says to Sam that Rhaegar was married in a secret ceremony, and Sam just was so frustrated that he didn't even really listen to her. And it was such a small little moment that you easily could have missed. And that's what I like about the show. It gives you important pieces of information in small little bites, if you will, that you could easily miss. And I really liked that it wasn't overplayed. It wasn't some grand realization. I mean, they don't even realize what it means. I am quite interested as to what Sam thinks of his father and brother being burned alive, considering he didn't get on with either of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what his reactions are to that, particularly since Jon and Dany are kind of allied now. Gendry, Davos, Jon, and Jorah go up to the wall because they're going to go beyond the wall and try and bring back a white to show to Cersei, and we get to see Beric Dondarrion, the Hound, and Thoros of Myr. They sort of got to reunite with Gendry, but there wasn't really anything there. It was just kind of Gendry going, don't trust them, they sold me to a red witch, which I feel like there should have been more there. They didn't even seem to realize that it was Gendry, and if they did, it wasn't shown very well. So I was hoping for more from that reunion. That last shot of them all crossing onto the other side of the wall, I really liked that. That was a great one to end on. I will say, this is just a quick little side note, the Hound looks so weird in like winter clothing. Just every time I see him, I'm just like, you look so out of place there, dude. I was kind of disappointed when they walked in and they saw them all at the wall, because I was wanting them to go to Winterfell because I wanted the Hound to reunite with Arya, essentially. But he is with Jon, the Hound is with Jon, so I'm hoping to see if Arya comes up in conversation at all. One little side note, shot where you see the Lannister soldiers walking up and you see Drogon sort of sitting on this hill. I thought that was a beautiful shot, and I just wanted to shout that out. It wasn't a good episode or a bad episode, it was just an episode. I didn't really have any positives or negatives to say about it. There's a few opinions on things that characters are doing that I agree or disagree with. The only thing that really bothered me was the Gendry reunion. I kind of wanted more from that. The stuff with Cersei and Jaime is still bothering me, but not as much, because they do seem like they are beginning to distrust each other. I would have loved to have seen a Bronn and Tyrion reunion actually on screen, but we didn't. And I still want to see a Hound and Arya reunion, but we probably won't even get that this season, which is really annoying. So I'll see you next time. Bye!